This is Representative Moskowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me extend my condolences to the Connolly family. Jerry's wit will be missed in this Congress. And so in the spirit of Jerry, let me say, Mr. Secretary, that I am deeply disappointed and find your performance as the National Archivist extremely underwhelming. And just for the record, we don't get to confirm here in Congress, but if we did, I would have voted against your confirmation as the National Archivist.
That vote never happened, so.
I know. I want to talk about Iran for a second, okay? I'm deeply concerned about the language that I'm seeing from the isolationist wing of the party. And I've been kind of shocked that the administration seems to be tougher on Canada, Greenland, than they are on Iran. The Ayatollah insults our president. If the language coming from the Ayatollah was coming from Canada or Greenland or the EU, the president wouldn't stand for it. Yet he allows it from the Ayatollah. Is it your recommendation? I understand that you can't guarantee what Trump would or would not do, but it is your recommendation to the president that he sign no deal that allows Iran to keep enrichment?
The administration, including both the president and the vice president, has spoken with absolute clarity on this matter. They insist that enrichment gives Iran not only the potential to make a weapon, but also the leverage to threaten the global community. In negotiations, enrichment becomes a bargaining chip for Tehran, one they can use to push back against sanctions or extract concessions. That leverage itself makes enrichment unacceptable because it tips the balance of power in Iran's favor and undermines international security. The secretary, in his testimony, made it clear that the administration is not divided on this issue. Everyone, from the president to the vice president to senior advisors, agrees that enrichment must be off the table. This consistency is presented as a strength, reinforcing the idea that there is no ambiguity in American policy regarding Iran's nuclear program. Another critical point is the comparison to the past. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, allowed Iran to retain some level of enrichment under strict monitoring. Critics argued at the time that this deal left Iran just a few steps away from the threshold of nuclear weapons capability.
Well, here's the answer to that question is the president has made clear that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. He's also been clear, and I think you've seen this in statements over the weekend, for example, that Ambassador Witkoff did on television and the like, that if you have an enrichment capability at any level, you are but steps away from nuclear weapons. So I think that's why the no enrichment piece is so important.
Right, of course, and that was the issues that many people had with the JCPOA, is they felt that it kept the enrichment capability along with ballistic missile capability, which Iran now has, okay, a delivery system. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, you know, there are many players in this, and I'm going to ask about those, but is it your recommendation, should the president ask of it, I assume he would, is it your recommendation to the president that he sign no deal that keeps their ability to enrich?
Yeah, and he doesn't need that recommendation because he's already said that.
Okay. Is it the vice president's position in your conversations with VP Vance that he also does not believe Iran should have any enrichment?
Well, I'm not going to describe our conversations, but I can tell you the vice president is completely aligned with the president in his foreign policy.
So that is his position then?
The position that they shouldn't have enrichment.
Yeah, is that the vice president?
If they have enrichment, then they will have a weapon, or at least there'll be and everybody in the administration has been consistent on that.
Okay, what about Mr. Witkoff? Is it his position that Iran should not be able to have any enrichment capabilities?
He has said so in public interviews as recently as this weekend, that this is not an enrichment deal, what level Iran gets to keep enrichment. What they have said is if Iran wants a civil nuclear program, like they want to have nuclear energy, there's ways to do that. Other countries have done it without enrichment. That opportunity is available to Iran if they seek it. They haven't been interested in it because they want to keep enrichment. That's the crux of what we're facing here.
So any deal the Trump administration is not going to look anything like JCPOA. Is that your position?
The Trump administration has been very clear that Iran will not get to enrich because if they enrich, they're a threshold nuclear power.
Okay. I want to shift for a second. There was just a leak that is now national news that Israel is poised to strike Iran. Where did that leak come from in the administration? Do we know what department leaked that? Is that being looked into?
Well, I'm not aware.
The question of leaks became a central point in this part of the discussion. Moskowitz pressed hard, highlighting that in other government departments, like FEMA, employees had reportedly been subjected to polygraph tests and other monitoring tools in an attempt to identify who was leaking to the press. He asked whether similar measures were being applied within the State Department or the National Security Team, given the sensitivity of military planning and intelligence regarding Iran and Israel. The secretary admitted that, to his knowledge, no such polygraphs had been conducted at the State Department, even half, joking that perhaps they should consider it. While this remark may have been lighthearted, the underlying concern was serious. Leaks of this magnitude could compromise national security, destabilize alliances, and even trigger conflict if adversaries acted on incomplete or misinterpreted information. The possibility of Israel striking Iran is not entirely surprising. For years, Israel has made it clear that it will not allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon under any circumstances. Israeli leaders view Iran's nuclear program as an existential threat. Given Tehran's repeated hostile rhetoric toward Israel and its funding of groups that openly call for Israel's destruction. This consistent position means that even without the leak, many analysts already believed Israel retained the option to take preemptive action if it felt Iran was crossing the nuclear threshold. The leak, however, brought this possibility into the public sphere, creating immediate speculation about whether military action was imminent. The potential consequences of such a strike are vast. A preemptive Israeli attack could spark a regional war, drawing in U.S. forces and other allies, as well as provoking Iranian retaliation through proxies across the Middle East.
Well, I'm not aware of the leak that you're discussing. I'm obviously, I wouldn't discuss intelligence matters and even verify whether it's even true. I also don't think it's a mystery, though. Irrespective, I'm not talking about the leak, I'm not talking about the news story, that Israel has made clear that they retain the option of action to limit Iran from ever gaining a nuclear capability. I don't think that's a mystery, but I wouldn't comment, if I had read the article, I wouldn't comment on intelligence matters, confirm or deny them. As far as leaks are concerned, I don't know. I read stuff in the news every single day that I look at and say, I don't know where these people are coming up with
Well, I mean, they're given polygraph tests in FEMA to determine where leaks are coming from. That's been well reported and not disputed by anyone in the administration, that they're literally going employee, sitting them down, putting them up to a polygraph, putting them up to, an oxygen monitor, trying to test their heart rate to figure out if they're leaking to the media. Is that sort of same application that is happening in FEMA going to be applied to the National Security Team and to the State Department to figure out who is leaking?
As far as I'm aware, we've not conducted any polygraph tests at the Department of State. Maybe we should, but we haven't.
Okay, all right. So I just want to be clear, because there is a lot of confusion depending on the day, the week, and a lot of the reporting that's coming out, is that any Iran deal, is it your recommendation that should go to Congress to
I actually think the law requires
This requirement arose out of the controversies surrounding the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the JCPOA. When that deal was signed in 2015, it was met with sharp criticism from many lawmakers who argued that it gave Iran too much leeway, particularly by allowing limited uranium enrichment under strict monitoring. Many in Congress felt that such an agreement, which had profound implications for U.S. foreign policy, should not have been executed without legislative oversight. As a result, laws were passed to ensure that any future deals would not bypass congressional authority. This was meant to prevent an administration from striking a deal that might not reflect the long-term interests of the country or that might lack bipartisan support, which is crucial for consistency in foreign policy. The importance of congressional involvement goes beyond legal procedure. It represents accountability to the American people. Lawmakers are expected to voice the concerns of their constituents, and in the case of Iran, those concerns are significant. The fear of Iran developing a nuclear weapon is not limited to experts in Washington. It resonates with ordinary citizens who understand the dangers of nuclear proliferation. By requiring Congress to review any deal, the law ensures that public sentiment and national security interests are both considered before final commitments are made. It also means that no single administration, whether Democrat or Republican, can easily reverse course without facing scrutiny from elected representatives. Another point that makes this fact significant is its effect on international negotiations.
I think the law requires it. If you recall, we passed legislation here a few years ago, and it requires that Congress has a right to weigh in on any deal and could actually reverse any deal. I forgot the acronym for the bill, but it was one that was passed a few years ago, and I was in the Senate when it passed. It was after JCPOA.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Chair now